People are always going to make decisions, on average, to benefit themselves and their family. Therefore, studying incentives is very, very important. And I think Charlie Munger is a big believer that if you understand how the person makes decisions, understand what his incentives are. Lessons I learned from awesome, terrific, great, one and only Charlie Munger. So the first lesson is actually be a student of life. I mean, Charlie Munger is almost 100 years old, and he still reads as if he has a full life ahead of him. This curiosity, this willingness to learn, and this is very important, and he reads very widely. Having this curiosity about life when you are 99 is absolutely incredible. Now, this brings me to the second lesson, which is mental models. This is very, very important because he reads so widely. He's able to take things he learns from one field, turn them into a mental model, kind of a set of rules, and pour it into another field. And I think that helps him to see the world from a different angle, to understand the world better. And this is why a lot of times when you, at the Berkshire Hathaway meeting, you hear Warren Buffett talk and Charlie Munger talk. Buffett, with all his brilliance, takes him 10 minutes to explain something, but Munger just says it just in a few sentences, and they're very, very sharp, and he cuts right to the point.
That does not mean we approve of every buyback at all, though. I mean, we've seen...
No. Yeah. I think some people just buy it to keep the stock up, and that, of course, is insane and immoral. But apart from that, it's fine.
I think the mental models allows him to slice through things faster. Another thing I learned is the importance of incentives. He has this quote that basically defines incentives. Nobody washes a rental car. Think about it. When you rent a car and you bring it back, you never wash it, right? Because you have zero incentives to do that. Okay? So incentives really drive our behavior. When you invest in companies, you really want to understand how management is incentivized. This is very, very important. This is actually, let me stop for a second, and I want to double click on this. When I grew up in Soviet Russia, one of the foundations of communism and socialism was, it was almost like you have this evolution of people that where they're going to put interest of everybody else above their own. This was what communism was supposed to be. When people wake up in the morning and they won't be thinking about their wife and their kids, but they will be thinking about their neighbor. Or not even the neighbor, somebody who lives 10,000 miles away. Okay? That's what's supposed to be the next evolution of people. Well, what we discover, that's not how the world works. Okay? We wake up in the morning and we don't think about what's happening 10,000 miles away. We think about how can we improve our life. Okay? People are always going to make decisions, on average, to benefit themselves and their family. Therefore, studying incentives is very, very important. And I think Charlie Munger is a big believer that if you understand how the person makes decisions, understand what his incentives are. Another thing I love about Charlie Munger is that he is always true to himself. Like if you go to a Berkshire Hathaway meeting, you have Warren Buffett on stage, you have Charlie Munger. Warren Buffett tries to be kind of a politician, try not to offend that many politicians, etc. Charlie Munger just tells you what he thinks. And there is a certain amount of freshness in that honesty. Okay? Being true to yourself, I think, is very, very important, because I think what happens, there's a lot of source around happiness, is that our behavior becomes different from where we want to be. And it's that deviation from where we want to be in our behavior that creates a lot of anxiety and happiness in our life. Being true to yourself, I think, is incredibly important. And I think Charlie Munger is a person who is true to himself. I don't know if this one goes to Warren Buffett or Charlie Munger or to both, because I heard it from both of them. But I think Charlie Munger said envy is the stupidest out of deadly sins, because at least with the other ones you have an upside. With this one you only have a downside. And I wrote this essay actually on this, and I think it was in the Soul in the Game as well, which was appropriately titled, Go Ahead, Covet Your Neighbor's Wife. And actually the title comes from a Talmud, I think, where it basically says, if you want to covet, if you want to envy somebody, that's fine, but do it holistically. So in other words, if you think your neighbor has a beautiful wife and you envy your neighbor, okay, well, fine, but don't stop there. Just remember that wife comes with the mother-in-law that is going to try to kiss you in the lips every time you see her. It's going to, that wife comes with the brother who is going to be in jail, every other month you have to bail out. May look beautiful, but may or may not have great character. So once you start looking at your neighbor's wife holistic, you realize maybe you should not even envy, your neighbor that much. So, and I think that's kind of a bigger point. The irony of this, actually, I wrote this article, and actually that was the title of the article. Somebody emails me, and the person is very, very upset at what I wrote. The problem is he read the headline, he didn't read the article. So maybe he should have read the article. The bottom line is this, coming back to Charlie Munger, envy is the stupidest out of deadly sins. And I think that's a great lesson right there as well. I think I can probably keep going, but I think those are plenty.